Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When a woman stops contacting a man, it ain't just silence. It's a statement. It's a message louder than words. It's the kind of silence that shakes a man right down to his bones. You ever seen a man sit there staring at his phone like it's broken? That's when he starts realizing what he had. You know, one of the coldest truths in relationships is this. Some men don't recognize the real value of the woman in their life until she's no longer available. I'm talking about after she pulls away, after she stops calling, after she stops checking in, after she stops caring like she used to. That's when reality hits him like a ton of bricks. See, most men live in the illusion that she'll always be there. They think because she's consistent, because she's loyal, because she's patient that she ain't going nowhere. They confuse her kindness for weakness, and they confuse her loyalty for a guarantee. But women, let me tell you something. The moment you go quiet, the moment you walk away, that's when he starts realizing that everything he was used to was love in its purest form. You see, a lot of men don't know how to process emotional comfort until it's gone. That attention you gave him every morning, the good morning text, the way you remembered the little things he said, the way you supported his dreams even when he didn't ask for it. You were his peace. But he didn't know how to appreciate peace because chaos felt normal to him. He was out here chasing noise, ignoring the quiet loyalty sitting right next to him until one day the loyalty packed up. Not with bags, not with yelling or drama, just silence. You didn't argue, you didn't beg, you didn't break down, you just stopped. And that shook him because let me tell you something about a man. He can handle your anger. He can take your tears. He might even get used to your complaints. But what he can't handle is your distance. That's the one thing that messes with a man's pride and his heart at the same time. Because when you go cold, that's when it hits him that your warmth wasn't guaranteed. That's when he starts remembering how he used to feel when you were around. He starts noticing the space you feel. Suddenly his day feels emptier. His phone doesn't ring the same. The compliments stop. The laughter fades. That silence makes a man face himself. It forces him to look at all the ways he failed to honor the woman who was standing in his corner. Now he's scrolling through old pictures, reading old messages, watching your stories like it's a full-length movie, hoping for a sign, waiting for a slip-up that says you still care. Because the truth is, when a woman truly detaches, it ain't easy to get her back. It takes more than a, hey, you good or I miss you. It takes a man finally stepping up. But that realization don't come until after she's pulled away. When you were always available, he didn't see the rarity of your energy. But the second it vanished, it became irreplaceable, and he starts thinking maybe, just maybe, he messed up something that other men would have prayed for. The woman he used to ignore is now the woman he can't get out of his mind. The woman he thought he had forever is now the woman he can't reach. And that regret, oh, that's a quiet killer. Because men, real talk, when a good woman pulls away, it's not because she stopped loving you. It's because she got tired of proving it. And that moment right there, that's when you realize you were living in the presence of a queen. But now you watching her from a distance, hoping that one day she might look back. A man often doesn't see a woman's worth until her absence becomes louder than her presence ever was. Let me tell y'all something real, and I mean real deep. A woman's silence is not just the absence of noise. It's a full conversation. It's a mirror. It's a test. And when a man who's being used to hearing from her every day suddenly gets nothing but stillness, it does something to him. It shakes him in ways he don't talk about. It makes him look in the mirror and start asking questions he's been avoiding for years. Because her silence ain't just quiet. It's loud in his mind, it echoes, it plays on repeat. It becomes a pressure he never expected. You see, when a woman goes silent, it's not because she's got nothing to say. It's because she said it all. She's shown it all, and now she's done trying. And that's when a man starts to feel the weight of everything he ignored. That's when he starts rethinking those little moments when she asked if he had time and he didn't, when she tried to talk and he brushed it off, when she cried and he told her she was being too emotional. Now he's sitting in the dark wondering where he went wrong. And the silence, it ain't letting him off the hook. That silence forces a man to sit with his conscience. It strips away the distractions. Ain't no arguments, ain't no text, ain't no checking in or asking how his day was. Just him and the thoughts he never thought would matter. A woman's silence doesn't just make a man miss her voice. It makes him hear his own for the first time. And most men, they don't like what they hear. That silence is humbling. It don't yell, but it hurts. It don't push, but it exposes. And when a woman who used to fill his world with love and support suddenly stops speaking, he starts realizing that maybe, just maybe, he's the reason for the silence. Now, he's in his head. He's replaying old conversations. He's trying to remember the last thing she said before she went quiet. And you know what really eats at him? It's that he didn't see it coming. He thought he had more time. He thought she'd always come back. He thought silence was just a phase. But no, this silence is intentional. It's a message. It's saying, I've loved you enough to lose myself. Now I'm finding me again. That's the kind of silence that makes a man grow up real quick. Because a woman's silence is like a storm that already passed, but it left everything rearranged. Nothing feels right anymore. He starts losing focus at work, can't sleep at night. Songs sound different. Her absence becomes this loud, lingering ache. And the worst part, he don't know how to break through it. Because once a woman finds peace in her silence, it's hard for a man to pull her back into noise. So now he's doing something he never did before. He's thinking, really thinking not just about her, but about himself. He's asking why he took her for granted, why he didn't listen when she tried to tell him what she needed, why he always assumed she'd stay. That silence, it made him realize he wasn't the man he thought he was. It broke through all that ego, all that bravado, and left him face to face with his own flaws. That's the power of a woman's silence. It doesn't just punish, it teaches. It doesn't just cut him off, it makes him look within. And most men never expect that. They think when she stops talking, it's over. But really, that's when the real lesson begins. That's when the healing starts. Not just for her, but for him too. Because a man who truly listens to the silence, who truly lets it show him what he failed to see before, can either change or stay stuck in regret. And trust me, silence will make sure he never forgets. Let me tell you something about men that most women already know deep down in their soul. A man will chase the very thing he once ignored the moment he feels like he's losing it. That's just how we're wired. We don't always appreciate what we have when it's right in front of us. But the second it starts slipping away, something clicks, a switch flips. That urgency that wasn't there before, oh, now it shows up full force. And it ain't because he suddenly became a better man. It's because fear just stepped in. See, when a woman is showing up for a man every day, pouring into him, checking on him, making time for him, supporting him, praying for him. He gets comfortable. He starts thinking, she ain't going nowhere, she loves me too much. And he might not say it out loud, but his actions do. He starts putting in the same effort. He gets lazy. He starts taking her presence for granted because in his mind, she's always been there and always will be until one day she's not. That's when he panics. That's when he starts thinking of all the things he didn't do, all the times he could have held her tighter, all the moments he could have said something but stayed quiet instead. You see, it's not until the love starts pulling away that a man starts to feel the weight of what he's about to lose. And when that feeling hits it strong, it makes him rethink everything. It makes him want to act fast before it's too late. Men chase what they feel slipping through their fingers. It ain't always noble, it's survival. Because even though he didn't act like he cared when she was right there, her absence creates a gap he never prepared for. Her silence becomes a challenge. Her distance becomes a puzzle he suddenly wants to solve. It ain't about ego. It's about fear. Fear of being replaced. Fear of being forgotten. Fear that someone else will step in and do what he failed to do. Now he's calling more, texting more, showing up in ways he never did before. Now he's talking about the future, making promises, saying all the things she begged him to say when she still cared. But now the energy has shifted. Now she's not the same. Now she's cautious, distant, and unsure, and he feels that. That's why the chase begins, because deep down he knows he's on borrowed time. A lot of men don't move until they feel pressure. They don't wake up until the woman who used to light up at their voice now responds with silence. They don't change until her "I love you" turns into "I'm done." That's when they start fighting. That's when they show you what they could have been all along, if only they had seen your value before they felt the threat of losing it. It's crazy how losing access makes a man realize what he had access to. That's when it hits him. She was rare. She was consistent, she was loyal, and now she's gone. Now she's glowing without him. Now she's healing in silence. And that reality, that's a hard pill to swallow. That's why men chase. Not because they've suddenly changed, but because the presence they once overlooked has now become the absence they can't escape. So when a man starts chasing after you once you've pulled back, it's not just about getting you back. It's about making sure no one else does, because men may not always cherish what they have, but they sure will chase it once they realize it's leaving. That chase is his way of saying, I finally see what I was blind to. But whether or not he gets another chance, that depends on whether he's chasing from fear or from growth. Now, let me break this down in a way that's going to hit home. When a woman starts pulling away emotionally, when she starts detaching from a man she used to love deeply, that shakes him. It rattles his sense of control. It makes him question everything about himself because emotional detachment is not loud. It's not dramatic. It's quiet and it's real. And that's what messes a man up more than anything else. Because most men are used to being in control. They're used to thinking, she loves me too much to walk away. But when she stops feeling, stops reacting, stops caring, that's when the real panic sets in. You see, when a woman is emotionally invested, she fights, she argues, she shows passion. And that might frustrate a man, but deep down, he knows that means she still cares. He knows that if she's getting emotional, she's still in it. But the moment that stops, the moment she becomes distant, quiet, and cold, that's when he starts losing control. That's when he realizes he's no longer the center of her emotional world. And for a man, that's scary. Most men won't admit it, but they thrive off of emotional connection, even when they don't know how to handle it. When a woman gives her heart, her attention, her energy, it boosts his confidence. It gives him a sense of certainty, of power even. But when that energy shifts, when her responses get shorter, when her eyes don't light up like they used to, when her tone goes from warm to indifferent, it hits different. Now he's overthinking. Now he's watching every little change in her behavior, trying to figure out where he lost her. And that's the twist. He lost her way before she ever left. He just didn't feel it because he thought she'd always feel the same. Emotional detachment from a woman who once adored you will humble a man. It will shake the toughest, most confident guy out there. Because now all those things he used to count on, the attention, the affection, the concern, they gone. And he's left with a version of her that doesn't need him like she used to. That kind of shift cuts deep. Because when a man starts to feel like he no longer has a place in her heart, he starts to question his own worth. That control he thought he had gone, that confidence he walked around with crack, now he's remembering all the moments he brushed her off, all the times he dismissed her feelings, all the chances he had to listen, to show up, to be present. And he didn't because back then her love felt permanent, but now he's seeing that even the deepest love has limits, and the more she detaches, the more desperate he becomes. He starts doing things he never did before. Now he wants to talk. Now he wants to listen. Now he wants to ask how she's doing. But the thing is, when a woman is emotionally gone, those things don't work like they used to. She doesn't respond with the same excitement. She's not trying to convince him anymore. She's not begging to be heard because she already tried. She already gave her best, and now she's focused on peace. That's what really throws a man off when he realizes she's not waiting on him anymore. When he sees that her world is still turning without him. When her joy is no longer tied to his presence. That's when he understands the value of what he had. But by then, she's already learned how to survive without him. And nothing shakes a man's control more than realizing the woman who once needed him doesn't anymore. Let me tell you something about distance. I ain't talking about miles. I'm talking about emotional distance. That space between you and somebody you used to be close with. When a woman pulls back, when she stops showing up the same way, when her energy shifts and she steps away, that right there forces a man into a space he don't like to be in. Reflection, and I mean real reflection, not surface level I miss her stuff. I'm talking about sitting alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering how he ended up here. Wondering how the woman who once gave him everything now barely responds with a hey. You see, a lot of men don't process emotions while they're in the middle of the relationship. They're too comfortable, too distracted, or just not emotionally equipped to understand what they've got while it's in front of them. They think it's all good. They think that woman will always be there. But when she creates space, when she stops texting first, when she stops checking in, when she stops trying, that distance becomes deafening. That space between them start talking to him in ways her words never could. And for the first time, he starts hearing the truth about himself. That space makes him think. It makes him remember the arguments he brushed off. It makes him replay those moments when she cried and he stayed cold.